mentally able to keep up with things. But in the beginning, you gotta be messy, you gotta be scrappy, you gotta be a disaster before you become the master. That's what they say. And we were definitely, well, I've been on YouTube since 2009. I feel like I was a disaster for 12 years until Team Pocket Monster was finally launched. A lot of people see this and they say, Pat, this is like an overnight success for you. Oh, no, no, no. I was on this platform since 2009, made a ton of mistakes, but learned about who I was in the process. Does anybody know MikeKapTCG&Gaming, a YouTuber in the tech world? He's got 18 million subscribers, and I had the pleasure of interviewing him on my podcast. He said his first 100 videos were for less than 100 subscribers. Now he's at 18 million, which is crazy. So you gotta get through the mess to be the best. You gotta be cringe before they binge. Got it? Yeah, okay. So let's get into the weeds a little bit because we want to teach you some stuff, not just try to be inspirational. So let's talk about, let's see, are we on the right slides? We should be on the YouTube one, Julie. Well, we like a strategy called the click and stick strategy. So click and stick. And what the click is when a person sees your YouTube video on their feed, how compelled are they to click on it, right? And that comes with two pieces, the title and the thumbnail, right? So why is this so important? Why is this, I mean, we want to get into the videos, we want to film, we want to tell those stories, but why is this the most important thing?
Well, think about this, right? You all came here, you had to walk through a door, right? If that door didn't exist, you wouldn't get in here, right? You wouldn't know where to go if there wasn't a sign to tell you that this was the main ballroom, right? This was the main room that you needed to go to. Getting your viewers to walk into your videos is so important. They're never going to get in to watch if they don't see that thumbnail, if they don't see that title. They have no reason to come in there. You would have no reason to come in this room if there was no sign telling you this is what's happening in this room right now. And that's almost more important than getting into the video itself, because we need to be able to see what the viewer is going to do when they come across this title, this thumbnail.
Right. Exist unless people are seeing them and then clicking on them, which is hard. That's just the game we're playing on YouTube. However, we've come up with a strategy that helps with that. We actually start with the title, and that has changed everything. I've been a content creator since 2008. I used to write and then figure out what the title of the blog post was. I write emails and then figure out what the subject line is. I do podcast episodes and then figure out what the title is. It has become such an unlock to start with the title. You're starting with the thing that's going to intrigue a person to click, and we keep going through different iterations, sometimes dozens of different titles around a topic, like we have a topic in mind, but then we come up with a bunch of ideas, and most of them are bad, terrible. But then you get that one, and you're like, whoa, okay, that we got something there, right? And we have many examples of that. And just to show you how powerful a title is, this is a person's channel called Brady Brandon. He's not in the Pokemon space, however, he created one video. You see these videos have, 20,000 to 200,000 views. He's been on YouTube since the beginning. However, there's one video here that has 18 million views out of the lot. This is what they call an outlier. The one video on that channel that just took off. This is keeping a grocery store lobster as a pet. Has anybody actually seen or heard of this video? Yeah, this is Leon the Lobster, by the way. I've gotten to know him very well because I've studied this channel since this has happened. And now this person is converted to a person who now sells Leon the Lobster merch because of one video idea. And you look at, tell me what you think about the title and thumbnail here.
Oh, I mean, think about it instantly, right? Every one of us have probably walked into a supermarket and seen a lobster there before. If not, you've walked into some kind of market and seen a lobster tank, right? Has anyone here seen live lobster tanks? You've gone to Red Lobster or something, right?
Well, Red Lobster is no more, but we're not going to talk about it. My parents are very sad.
Have you ever considered what it would be like to have like a lobster pet? Like, has it ever been like a fleeting thought in your mind when you walk by these? Sometimes, right? It's just like, oh, it's kind of an interesting thing, but you would never think that that'd be something practical to do. It'd be something strange to do. But what if someone actually did it?
Right. And the thumbnail is not a beautiful thumbnail, but it shows the most important part, which is that lobster claw with the rubber band. That is like the symbol of a grocery store lobster. So you see, it's telling a story already. it kind of opens something in your mind about, okay, well, what can you actually do that? What would happen? I need to know this now. And this is why this video did very well. What's really cool too is when you start with the title, it actually changes the video and the way that you film it, which is really interesting, which you cannot do if you film the video first and then come up with the title. For example, we had an idea at one point when we were doing more how-to content. The original idea was how to package and ship your cards without damage. I had just recently received some cards that were terribly damaged, and I was like, I want to do a video to kind of teach the world how to ship things better. But that title wouldn't matter really to somebody who doesn't ship, right? It doesn't really matter to most of those people. So we decided, okay, well, what can we do to expand on this? And here's what we came up with. Why does this work so well, Dan?
Which shipping service damages my Pokemon cards the most? Insert curiosity right away, right? Because you might not care, like you said, about what, how to ship your cards without damage. Maybe you already know how to ship them, so it's not interesting. But man, which company's going to damage the most? Like, it's already guaranteeing that there's going to be some kind of damage here, right? So which one's going to damage it the most? What a curiosity, leaning into curiosity within the context of what we're placing.
Also, the most part of this title is really important too, because that means we're doing a comparison. And you kind of, in order to get the answer that we're opening up, you kind of have to stick around to the end to find the answer, right? And the little secret about YouTube is the longer you can get people to watch your videos, the more YouTube is going to get more people to watch those videos. Because what is YouTube's goal ultimately, Dan?
It's to keep you on YouTube.
Because?
Because they're going to get ads that play?
Because they're going to make money. People stay on YouTube. So if you help people stay on YouTube because you're creating these reasons to stick around to the story you're telling, the answer that you're opening up, or that, they call this gap theory. We as humans in our brains just hate when things are left unanswered, right? When you see a blank, you have to fill it with something. So you can do that in your videos, literally and sort of metaphorically, in what it is that you're teaching. So that's the click, right? So what we love to do is look at other channels and get inspiration in completely different niches on, well, why did that video go well in that niche? What about that thumbnail worked really well? And we can kind of borrow that and put it into the Pokemon space. And there's no rule against not doing that. You're not stealing, you're getting inspiration because you're in a completely different space and you're telling it in your own way. That's your own content. But now let's talk about the stick. This is where you shine, Dan, because you go into these graphics. And can you tell people what they're looking at right now and where they can find this for the beginners? And what does this all mean?
So this right here is called a retention chart. If you've ever looked into your analytics page on YouTube, it can be very scary. I know there's a lot of numbers, a lot of graphs, a lot of things that don't make sense. But if you were to go into your analytics page, right, and you look under engagement, and that's where you'll see something called a retention graph. And what this is the average of how people are watching your videos. So it starts at 100% all the way to the top, and you can see on this chart it kind of dips down, right? What that means is people are either leaving or fast forwarding to the thing that they want. And when it's kind of more straight or more flat, that means they're watching it. That means they're spending time watching that video. So when it dips, they're leaving or skipping. If it raises, that means they're skipping to it or spending time watching that. So this is important for you when you're looking at your videos to know, hey, the audience cares about one thing, the audience doesn't care about another thing.
Yeah, and so in this video, for example, we can clearly see there are two moments where there are major dips. One at the beginning there, because people were skipping over, as you can see, it comes back up. And then at the very end, they're like, I'm out, I'm done. So we looked at the video. That's what you're supposed to do. Where in my video is this happening? Oh, when my face is on screen. That's fun to know. But it's also good to know, really. Because this is information that I can then gather and apply into the next video. Is this making sense, everybody?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we learned from that. So what we learned was at the end of this video, for example, the mystery box we were opening was already finished being opened. And I was just kind of like concluding and kind of going over how I felt about the whole thing. People just wanted to see the things being opened. As soon as that last package inside that box was opened, they're out. For our audience, your audience may be different. And again, your audience will tell you through this data what they want and what they don't want. And then we did a mystery video at one point where we saw a pretty flat, I mean, it's going down gradually, but a pretty flat line, and that was cool. There was these mystery box videos that we were doing, and again, you can see, like, this is the part of that video where my face is not on camera. So we're like, okay, let's focus on that. Then we had another mystery box video we did a bunch of those for a while. We bought them on eBay and just kind of opened them up for fun. And look at this circle part right here. It is so flat. People, when they got to this point, stuck around. So again, we looked at the video. What's happening there? Oh, there was a binder in this particular mystery box. Oh, that's interesting to know. Binders. We should just find binders that we can purchase, right? Binders for our channel seemed to retain people. So we bought just binders. And those videos did very well. Yes. Anything to add on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's, when you look at your retention, it can be defeating, right? Like we said, you see the dips, that can feel defeating, but if you use that as data, information, this is your audience telling you, I don't care about this, right? But then you look at the things where it's flat like that, where people are spending time watching it. Spend the time to look at your video and watch. What are they watching? What can I take away from this? Maybe you need to kind of step back, get out of your own head and just think, what's happening here? Because we could have looked at that and said, oh, it's just the mystery box. People like the mystery box. But when we noticed specifically that he had pulled the binder out of there, it was like, let's try something. And if you can see the views on these,
3 million, 2.6, 2.1 million. For a channel that was just a year and a half old, that was like, whoa, this is insane. This is good info. But it didn't stop there. These videos sometimes take some time. As you can see, this one kind of had a slow start. And then for some reason, and honestly, I don't even know the answer, sometimes YouTube's just like, hey, you know what? You've been patient enough, we're gonna give it to you now. And we honestly don't know why that happens sometimes. As long as you give yourself the best chance with these kinds of things that we're telling you, then the more, it's almost like fishing, right? It's like you can put your bait out there and present it really, really well to the largemouth bass, and it just goes right by them. And you can do that a bunch of times, but then it just takes that one. And we've seen so many times where one video lifts the entire channel, just like the Leon the Lobster situation that we talked about earlier. So this one video, I mean, you can even see, and we're sharing the numbers with you, this one video accounted for 21,000 subscribers and $17,000, which is wild. And that's why I just give most of that stuff back away to the channel on lives, because it's just like, and then it just grows the channel, comes back, we've had this really cool feedback loop in that way. Another thing we like to do is experiment. So we have these buckets, right? Like you saw the bucket at the top there. We had a mystery box bucket, we had the binders bucket, we had Etsy video buckets. A bucket is sort of a category or playlist of videos. And when you're, can you speak to reading analytics between those? Because I think a lot of people confuse, like if they get a video and YouTube will tell you, oh, this video is performing 8 out of 10. It's not doing so well. And it might make you feel bad, but that's just based on the last 10 videos, right? Not necessarily the last 10 of that bucket.
yeah.
Right?
So if you can think about your own viewing behavior, there's some videos when they pop up on YouTube that you're just like, oh, that's nice, I'll watch that later. I can't wait to watch it, I'm excited, it looks fun, but I'm busy right now. And then there's other videos that will show up on YouTube, and it doesn't matter what you're doing, you are going to stop and watch that video. It doesn't matter if you're watching someone else's video or you're doing something super important, you're like, I need to stop what I'm doing and watch this right now. Well, it's the same thing for all of your viewers, right? There might be some videos that you make that people are like, I can't wait to watch that, but I don't need to watch it right now. For us, that would be something like Etsy videos, where Pat opens weird products he buys on Etsy. That's not always like, hey, I need to stop and watch this right now. So it's going to perform differently than when we drop, let's say, one of the Chad episodes recently, or one of the complete sets in 24 hours. The audience tends to more want to see that immediately because, oh man, he just dropped another one of those, versus some of the others. So we can be very defeating sometimes. We drop those and it's like, man, this thing's not getting that many views. But it doesn't mean in the long term that it's going to get the views that the rest of that series had gotten before, right? That's why you want to spend some time and look, how has this performed over time? Not just, how did it perform the day I posted it? No one watched, oh man, that's it, I'm never going to do those videos again, right? At least do 3. If you're gonna do a series, do 3 videos to really define if I should continue doing this type of video. That'll kind of give you enough data over time to see how it performs over 28 days, over 90 days.
Very nice. So you'll have your normal buckets, but then we always love to try an outlier video, one that's kind of experimental. And if it hits, awesome. If it doesn't, that's okay. It was contained. It's like it's in its own little petri dish. And if it fails, it's okay. It's okay to fail, by the way. You just want to control that a little bit. And so we did an experimental video once where it was, the original seed idea was creative things you can do with extra energy cards. Because I had them all lying around. And I was gonna build all these amazing things with my kids, like a table and jewelry and whatnot. And I was like, okay, like, would I watch this video? I mean, why would I watch this video? I mean, I'm gonna have fun creating it, but like, what could I include in this? Like, what story can I tell here? And this was the birth of my son. This wasn't the birth of my son, that was many years ago. This was the birth of my son becoming the villain on the channel because we were battling. He was challenging me to complete a trick shot with these energy cards, one of the activities that I originally had, within a certain amount of time, or else I lose my Charizard, my Hidden Fates Charizard. And oh my gosh, that video was, once people got into it, they were hooked. And so we started to ask, okay, like, is it my son? Is that why people are watching this? Maybe. And my face doesn't work, but I guess his does. What is it about this? And we realized that it's because there was something at stake here, right? Again, something at stake means it could go one way and you could lose something, or you can win, but you don't know until you see the story develop. And that's why at the very end you see a spike there, because that's where the moment where I had actually lost this Charizard for my son happened. And so you can see people replayed it. And so this gave us the idea of, okay, like, wow, okay, we're getting all this information. Yes, okay, cool, binders are working really well. These challenges are kind of cool with my son. So we're like, okay, what if we combine these things? What if we did a binder thing, which again wasn't random, that was from data, but with the idea of a challenge, because people like to see something at stake. So that's when, I don't know if it was you or me, we were just like, one of my favorite phrases is, what if? Right? Oh, what if we did this? What if we do that? We never start with, oh, I don't think this is possible, right? They call this first principles. If you follow anything about Elon Musk, he talks about this quite a bit. Start at just, well, what do you want to do? And then you can start removing the things after. You know, I came from the world of architects, and a lot of engineers don't like architects, because architects have huge ideas that just engineeringly are not possible sometimes. But as a creator, you want to start big and grand, and you can always narrow down and find the things that then work for you, as opposed to just staying in a little tiny safe place, right? I think the riskiest thing to do as a creator is to stay in your lane and stay safe, I feel. You gotta take some risks sometimes. So we decided, okay, let's try a binder challenge. We're gonna complete Brilliant Stars in 24 hours. And I don't know what was going through your head when that all went down, but...
Oh, I think I remember kind of suggesting the idea, and because I knew you had Brilliant Stars like almost complete after a couple of different openings over the year, and you were like, I don't know, 24 hours seems hard, but let me go and do it, you know. And he's always like up for doing these crazy things, and doing it within 24 hours at that time seemed crazy.
Yeah, and then we did it. I ran around town. I just took a camera with me. It was just me. I didn't have a film crew or anything. And we realized that part of the storytelling doesn't happen just when you're recording. It happens after you're done recording. And then you remember all the fun things that have happened, or the people that you met, and how you tie those things together. So that video, I mean, look at this retention graph. Once you're watching it, I mean, you're stuck. So if you wanted some inspiration to see like how we start, and again, a good hook, which is the beginning of your video, very important. First 10 seconds should relate to the title and thumbnail package. If you promise, like a title and thumbnail is a promise. This is what this video is going to be about. And if you say, hey everybody, welcome in. Now, before we get to the thing that y'all stopped whatever it was you were doing to now watch me do this, we're gonna go here instead. That doesn't feel good, right? Like imagine you host a party at your house and you invited all these people, and they came in, and you're like, hey, party's gonna happen, don't worry. But we're gonna do some yard work first. That wouldn't, I mean, for most people, that wouldn't be cool. But that's what we're doing as YouTubers, right? We're making people almost work to get to the thing that they want right away. And you don't have to give it all away, but just at least have them realize that you know why they clicked, and then you can take them from there, right? And that's where you get this kind of graph that's just like flat lines. And again, when YouTube sees this, when they go, oh my gosh, 60% of people who watch this watch it all the way through, I guess we should send this to more people because that keeps people on the platform for us. Thank you, Pat Flynn, for keeping people on YouTube. We're going to send you some money. That's actually, I mean, they don't call me and say that.
That's essentially what they do.
But no, so this video, the Brilliant Stars video, hit 11 million views, 80,000 subscribers from one story. Your next video could be the one. And for us, this was the one. I mean, and $56,000 in revenue. I mean, it was worth the gas I spent to drive around San Diego for 24 hours.
It looks like it.
So then, of course, we're like, okay, that works. Yes. And if you find something that works, do it again and put a spin on it and put a twist on it, but like package it the same way because YouTube will send people back to the new ones. And that's why we don't heavily redesign our thumbnails, right? Can you talk about that a little bit? I think that's a big mistake a lot of people make.
Yeah, especially when you find one that works, right? It's figuring out what about that thumbnail worked, why, right? And to continue to try to refine that as opposed to let me completely change the idea, let me go too far from things. So yes, if you look at Deep Pocket Monster channel, you'll see a lot of thumbnails that kind of look the same, right? But that's because it works, it piques enough curiosity, and it's simple. We used to overcomplicate our thumbnails so much on Deep Pocket Monster, especially in the beginning.
We used to tell the whole story of the video in the thumbnail. Because that's what I thought you would want to do. So if we get these 5 big pulls in the video story, I want to put those 5 big pulls in the thumbnail. Because isn't that a cool, like, I would want to watch that, right? No. You need to put some mystery and intrigue in there and kind of let their brains consider what the story might be, and then to figure it out, they have to click through. Is this making sense so far? I know we're getting a little bit into the weeds here, but are we good?
No, we're good.
Okay, cool. Amazing. In our videos, I think it's really important to think about, in whatever it is that you're creating, even if it is how-to type stuff, what are some magical moments that you could bring to the table? Because those are the moments that will, that'll get a person to react or to see something or to feel something that's not just, you know, the same old thing, right? Like opening packs, cool. But I think we as YouTubers, especially in the Pokemon space, for a long time had a huge advantage. There was a built-in magical moment inside of those packs, right? Every pack could potentially have that magical moment. And that magical moment does work, but guess what? Now everybody's opening packs and has now the same magical moments in these videos. So how can we create different kinds of magical moments on top of that to differentiate ourselves? And that might be based on you and a talent that you have, or a superpower that you have, or a place that you're at, or a person that you're with. So that's why for a lot of our videos, it's not even, we made a video about energy cards. It's the story that's wrapped around that. And we want to share a magical moment with you, just kind of how it plays a role. And some of you might remember this.
Thank you guys so much. Next, this is Andrew. He doesn't know this yet, but he has something I really need.
These 2 cards right here are from Evolving Skies. Are you willing to trade them, Andrew? You are.
A straight shooter. I like it.
Okay, so I'm going to give you my binder. And if you see anything that you like, you just point to it, let me know what you think.
And of course, he points to the shiny Charizard VMAX.
The Charizard? Oh my gosh. He knows exactly which one. Yes, that's right. It is.
Andrew knows what's up. This kid is awesome.
You know what, Andrew? Because you watch the channel, you trade me these 2, I'll let you have that Charizard. You're good? Okay, we gotta shake on it.
On the surface, this obviously wasn't a great trade for you, but sometimes it's more than just about the value of these cards. We made a core memory today, and we made this dad look like a hero for bringing his kid here, and we made this kid in the back freak out. I'd say we did a good thing today.
Thank you.
Yeah, we gotta give that up.
So, when I was in Hawaii filming this Evolving Skies Challenge, which was another huge video that we did, that was the first time I tried to do one at an event. and that changed the course of our channel too. But when I saw Andrew, I knew that there was an opportunity here. Like in the moment, I was like, man, this young kid, he's wearing a Pikachu sweater. I'm gonna hook him up and I wanna film this magic moment. This could be a magic moment. It doesn't always become one, right? But we've given it a chance, and then in my head when I'm filming, this could happen, right?
One of the keys to finding these though, because a lot of times when you're going out, especially if you're out shooting, right? It can get very easy to get in your head that you're so focused, I need to plan this video, so I'm starting to now talk to the camera, do all these different things. One of the keys in order to find these magic moments is that Pat goes out and just records everything. He plans the story. Yes, he'll think in moments, this is something I want to get, this is something I want to get, but he's not so worried about all the words he needs to say in that moment. We'll go back and script that voiceover. As you can see, that was very led by voiceover. Pat's like going back and writing out what he's going to say and then recording that voiceover after. But being able to find these moments, his mind was free enough to find them. Don't get too caught up when you're shooting, because you've got the benefit of editing and going back and saying, I can go record a new voiceover, or you can go to your setup at home and record a new spot there, because that frees you up to find these kind of moments.
Yeah, that interaction in real life was about 10 minutes, but imagine if I just showed you the entire 10 minutes, right? It would just be a lot of pausing and him looking at other cards and then going back to the Charizard and going back to the Charizard. I mean, it would be kind of interesting, but we wanted to capture that magical moment as quickly as possible and then move on. And there was a book that you recommended at one point. What was it, like Save the Cat or something?
Save the Cat.
What does this book mean? Why is that important?
So this is a script writing book for like movies and different things. I think it's worth studying storytelling, studying scripting. You don't have to go crazy and nerd out like I do with that kind of stuff. I come from a film school background, so that's where I could look into that. But there's this idea called Save the Cat. When you go and watch a movie, a lot of times the main character, at some point, a little early on, character sees a cat up the tree and goes and saves the cat. What does that do for you as someone who's watching that movie? It makes you now care for this main character. It makes you now have this identification of, oh, that's a good guy, right? That's a good person, right? And so you're like now rooting for that main character. You could take that same approach, right? Where maybe it's a little like, we were saying with Jay and I talking about side quests even while we're here, right? This idea of like, you've got a main thing, but this little side quest that kind of feels random becomes a little thing where the viewers go, oh man, that was such a wholesome moment, right? And that's one of the things that happens with this. It's like these little wholesome moments that make you just root for the video to end in a positive or strong way. And those kind of little moments are the things that people tend to remember more than even the ending.
That being said, you don't always have to be super positive and save a ton of cats to get a lot of views, right? All it means is there needs to be some connection to either you or the character on the screen. Why do I even have to care about this is the answer we're trying to get to, right? And so maybe it's the opposite approach. Maybe you're not evil, but you're kind of upset at something. And, you know, FedEx, who ruined my package, becomes the villain. And we kind of turn that into a character. And no, if there's any FedEx people here, I'm just making this up, by the way. But then it's like, okay, now the viewers are feeling what I'm feeling as someone who's upset because of this happened. And maybe I then, you know, I'm just making this up, but I phone FedEx and I capture the whole moment. It's a 25-minute, I'm on hold, and knowing that I'm on hold, I'm gonna go into different positions and just record myself getting all like upset that I'm on hold, right? Just to kind of amplify that moment. And then I finally get on a call, and I get redirected again and redirected, and then I may use that or I may not. But that's what's happening, and then we can figure out how that may or may not fit into the overall story of upset, just want to get my package or get my refund finally into I mean, who knows what the answer is going to be. I'm going to stick around to the end to figure out, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's one creator here, Powder, I don't know if you're in the room, but yeah, there he is. Recently, he put out a video, right, and he's collecting all of the alt arts in Sword and Shield, or he has to shave his head at the end of the year. So, he, in a moment, he was out at a convention similar to this, right, and he was talking about negotiating, and he needs to negotiate a deal. And instead of just going right into it, he recorded himself walking back and forth, talking himself up, trying to like get him, you can do this, you're the best negotiator, you're gonna do this, you're gonna get the best deal. And that's, right? And all of the comments in that video's, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, they're all about that scene. That one moment where brought his personality out and made people care.
So relatable.
Yeah.
So relatable. And the viewers either want them to win or fail. I mean, not everybody wants you to finish. They want to see your head.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then, of course, you know, the viewers get to go along for the ride, too. Everybody was all about Andrew, and that little moment became a thing. Bringing emotion into it as well in one way, shape, or form. And we've kind of touched on this a little bit already, but emotion means connection. And where things are going right now with everything AI, everything like being dehumanized in some way, shape, or form, the more human and person kind of that you can bring into it, the more connection you're going to have. I mean, this is the big advantage that we have now, is that we can get ahead of this, make connections, build real relationships, and then other people are just using AI to create film and content that just has no personality or life, right? So bring your personality into it. And I'm going to show you a moment in a video that was probably one of the most emotional that I've had, and sort of the reaction to it from the audience. And this is, again, why emotion, in some way, shape, or form, not just happy, not just sad. It can be any emotion, but emotion is so human. Bring that into your content.
Just when you think it's over, miracles can happen.
Well, I have something to show you.
Oh, snap, are you serious?
Yeah, let's take a look.
You did not go and get these. Are you kidding me? You got the Duraludon.
Your Duraludon VMAX All Art is right here.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And
Oh my god, are you kidding? Are you serious?
Rayquaza VMAX All Art. The last card you needed for this set.
You didn't do that. Dude, are you... I mean, how did you...
I could just ask for what I paid for them.
Jeffrey, I know you were watching this. Thank you. And thank you to Tony and Trevor. I know you guys are all in on this, or else you wouldn't know that I needed these cards at the end here.
How much did you pay for them?
So 300 for both.
Dude, we did it, guys. We did it. We did it! Thank you. Can I give you one? Can you ceremoniously mark off those for me?
Yes.
And thank you to everyone who made this happen. Every single person we interact.
Thank you.
I remember
I
that
get
one.
choked up watching that. I
Oh,
swear.
yeah.
It's so wild. And again, you can't script that. You put yourself in those situations for magical moments to happen, and they happen. You bring emotion. I cried. Here are some of the comments. I'm not crying, you are. The ending was top tier. I was totally not crying. What if I teared up toward the end? My favorite comments were these. I don't even collect Pokemon, but that was a great video, Pat. I cried in the end. I don't even know what I just watched. Literally just stumbled upon this video. I was so invested in something I don't even collect. It made me tear up. Emotion. Bring emotion to it. Bring reality into it. Because that's real life. Real life is not just getting hits in every pack, right? Real life is sometimes the struggle, and that's what we try to bring into some of our newer series that we've been creating. That video has also performed very well, bringing emotion into your content. Why don't you set up this one, because we're about to dive into Chad land here.
So, if you've been watching Deep Pocket Monster recently, you know we haven't really put out any other content besides one series, the Gigabinder series, watching Pat fill Chad with every Pokemon ever into one binder. And the idea here, right, is that we're creating a series or a story arc to be able to watch, right? This is where a whole bunch of videos are telling one big story. But each video itself is its own story, right? You want to have that satisfying ending of a video. You don't want to feel unsatisfied, right? So there's a satisfaction in each individual video, and then a satisfaction of watching all of the videos together. If you've watched TV, if you have a favorite TV show, I don't know, Breaking Bad, things like that, right? That's that same idea, that same feeling of like, I want to keep watching all of these episodes, and that's something that you, as a YouTuber, have the power to do. We think that we just have to be like everyone else and just create random YouTube videos and that you can't do different things. You can do things just like this and create some powerful momentum.
And this kind of actually happened by accident. I did a series where I was collecting Pokemon 151. Anybody see the 151 series? So I was trying to collect all of Pokemon 151, which is a set name, in 151 minutes. I thought that was a cool idea. And I thought I'd be able to do it, and I'm not gonna play this video, I'll go to here. This was the first video. I failed.
Yep.
I failed, and I was like, okay, I'll try again. And then I failed again. And this was, in fact, the introduction to Steve, by the way, which is, again, this idea of a show, right? We're bringing characters. It's a kitchen timer with googly eyes. And all we had to do was give it a name. And now it has life. Chad is a purposeful name. This is Giga Chad, Gigabinder, whatever. But we knew that if we just continued to refer to Chad, then we now have crowds chanting Chad. Like, it seems silly, but it's not at the same time. So anyway, I failed this challenge twice, and the second time, I was so mad that I failed a second time. I was like, I can't do this. And all the comments were like, you gotta do it again. You gotta do it again. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've already spent like thousands of dollars trying to finish this, and I've already given away 2 binders. Okay, we'll do it again. And if you look at the views on these, which one has more views?
The final.
The finale.
Mm-hmm.
The last one, because people were so invested in me finally finishing this challenge. And this is what they call a story arc. So instead of just one video where it's like, okay, this is gonna happen, and then next video, you're not sure what the video is gonna be about exactly. Well, after video 2 here, everybody knew what the next video was gonna be. And what happens in the world of YouTube is if you find a video and you really, really wanna know what the next video is gonna be from that person, what do?
You follow.
You subscribe.
You subscribe.
People don't subscribe because you tell them to. People don't subscribe because they liked the video they just saw. They subscribe because they want more of that video coming, for what's coming next. And there's no better way to do that than in an already sort of built out story, where even sometimes you don't even know where it's going, but it's going somewhere, right? And you want to figure out where it is. Almost like it's an anime, right? There's me in Crunchyroll, right? The 151 anime with Pat Flynn. But that's kind of what it's like, right? If any of you watch any animes, One Piece or anything, One Piece is 1,000 episodes, right? Like, so many episodes. But, Marineford was 100 episodes, and, Punk Hazard was, another 70 episodes. There's these stories that are contained within the larger story. Yes, he wants to be the king of the pirates. It's not even there yet. Yet we continue to watch because we want to see where it ends up. And then this is where then I reached out to Vaultex and I was like, hey guys, can you build like the biggest binder in the world for us? And they're like, well, there's these binders that hold 1,000 cards already. Like, why don't you just get one of those? I was like, no, we want it big because we also had a video from our past, which I wore a Halloween costume. It was like a large sheet of cards that I brought to a Halloween party. Or we're like, okay, I want one that size, but it would actually hold them all. And now this is our Gigabinder arc in my version of a One Piece story, because I'm gonna be the Giga King. I don't know where that's going, sorry. But again, people don't subscribe because of the videos they watch, they subscribe for the videos they want to watch, the videos that are coming. So you don't always have to be in a series. I mean, even in One Piece, right? We keep talking about One Piece, I got a One Piece fan right there. There are these filler episodes, right? An arc ends, and we're at the end of an arc right now. We just finished the chat series, and we have some experimental videos coming out. We have a few more, but then we already have the next arc in mind. Do you want to know what it is? So do I, because we have 3 to choose from, so we're not exactly sure yet. But that's how we're thinking. We're thinking now, okay, arc, and who knows, there might be a new villain in this arc. I don't know. We're just having fun, and I think that's the most important lesson here, is if you're having fun filming this stuff, your audience is gonna have fun watching it. Like, for real. Yeah. It's not always easy, and sometimes I'm in the middle of filming, I'm like, why do I put myself through this? This is great. Why? I'm walking through a flea market with a giant binder on my back, and people are calling it a yoga mat, but, we're all just doing this for fun. How many of you haven't yet to start a YouTube channel, but you're curious about it? Quite a bit of you. How many of you do have a YouTube channel or other content platform? Amazing. Well, first of all, we're so excited to see more of you out there. This is not a space that we want to own, right? You know how some people say, oh, you guys own this. No, we want to share everything with you so that we can all be in this together. And there was a person who was in your seat last year in Anaheim. Team Pocket, where are you at? Come up here, buddy. So, Henry here, let's welcome Team Pocket. A YouTuber, Pokemon creator, who this very time last year had 0 subscribers. He was just like many of you. Henry, there you go. Thank you.
Keep all good. Dude, how many subs you got now? I mean, it's not the most important number, but it's
3741. Not that I'm counting every single day.
so almost 4,000 subs since
Almost.
1 year ago. That's
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Thanks everyone for the support. I really appreciate that. So make sure you follow Team Pocket. But I'm curious, when you were in their seats, what did you take away, and how did you actually take action on what it is that we're talking about here?
Yeah, believe it or not, the thing that really resonated with me was when you talked about the click and stick strategy and intention. So, quick nerd out. I work in tech and I work in monetization specifically, so I understand like funnel tracking. I see like dad over there falling asleep already. I promise this is actually interesting to me. But you know, I think a lot about like experimentation, single variable experimentation. What kind of value am I providing for people? I think it's the same thing with storytelling. It's like, why am I sticking around? What's interesting about the story? Why do I want to stick around for the video? And so I think for me, it just resonated, and I understand like, oh, you're speaking my language now. I get it, and I can translate this into a story, or translate this into something I can actually design and create for fun for people to watch. And so that was pretty much it. And then obviously just doing it. I've been planning mode for like 6 months, and I think your advice around like, hey, just create it, film it, throw it out there, and see what happens. I think that was really it. So if anybody here is a creator who hasn't started yet, just take that first step. I promise it is a little scary, but take that first step and you'll learn, and it becomes a muscle that you build over time.
Have you found your voice yet, like your flow in the space? And when did you do that, if you did?
Yeah, good question. I don't honestly think I found my voice yet. I'm still in experimentation mode, if I'm being honest with you. I'm trying out a bunch of different things. I am a student first, I think, so I watch your channel, I watch Rev, I watch everyone. I also watch content that's like Binge It with Bad Bitch, which is actually an inspiration for my first video around cooking with Pokemon cards.
It was great.
So I don't think I've found my voice yet, but I'm definitely still like developing it as I go, and I think I just need to put more videos out, which is the tip that I'm taking away from today's session.
Yeah, dude, your stuff has been fun because you try to do different twists on things, right? And that's risky. It's risky, especially as you're just starting, because it's very tempting to just, I'm just gonna look out and do what other people have done. What have you found has worked the best for you when it comes to the videos you're making?
I think it's honestly something that you said earlier, which is really just putting your own spin on it, right? Basically finding something that you enjoy doing. And I think because I enjoy doing it, it's going to basically force me to create more content, create more video out there. Because I think if I was just doing the same thing as everyone else, I probably would not be as motivated. But I think seeing the things I'm interested in that are related to Pokemon and being able to sort of combine it together, that's been the most fun for me, and that really inspires me to keep going.
You're not full-time YouTube yet.
No, not even close.
Not even close. How do you balance when you film and do all the things for YouTube with your day job, life, family?
Yep.
I'll let you know when I get there. No. I have a calendar. I literally try to just like block time off so I can actually film things. In my field as well too, I do like a lot of planning, so there's like a lot of documents. I'm not saying that you guys have the document. That's just how I go to sleep at night. But I write a lot of things down, and then I block out time on my calendar in order to block that time off. But you know, and it's just about prioritization, right? What's most important to you? And Pokemon's pretty important to me, so I'll try to find some time for it.
Amazing. I think we could maybe field a few questions. Stay up here, please, because you have a lot of value to offer. Do we have a mic runner, or we have a mic runner? We have a question right here on the front already to start out with. Oh, no, you're good. Henry, thank you again for coming back to Car Party. You're going to be moderating some of the pack battles later on.
I sure will.
Which is going to be fun. And, you know, we love to support the creators who are here. And we look forward to seeing some of you back next year and maybe even on stage too. So we're going to start here, and then I see your hand. We'll go to you next after. But let's start over here. Name, please, and then your question.
Hi, I'm Graham, and I have 2 questions. The first is, how do you feel about like having a longer title in your usual videos? Because I feel like in your videos you have longer titles, and from what I've heard, that doesn't help videos that much. And my other thing is, how do you come up with ideas? Because I feel like a lot of us creators, we get struck in trying to think of, we need to be the best in this, we need to do the best idea, and we just get caught up in that.
It's totally relatable. Thank you for that question. The next question was over here. She's getting bottled water or something. You're next. to your first question, there's a really handy tool called thumbsup.tv. It's completely free, you don't need to sign up or anything. Thumbsup.tv. And what you can do with that is you write your title idea and you throw up a thumbnail, and it will literally show you on every device how that thumbnail and title would look. You can see where it's truncated. Maybe you might think that you have your most important, interesting part, but then you look, it's like, oh, that most important, interesting part is actually cut off on most mobile devices. And now anybody who sees this on their phone is not going to know this video is as cool as it can be because it's truncated. There are too many characters, right? So we take the approach of having the most important stuff up front, but we add a little bit more, mostly just to connect the videos together. That is less for a person seeing it and more for just YouTube to know, okay, this video relates to this video, and this video relates to this video. So that's why you see a lot of, Pokemon Card Challenge, right? That's not even for search engines or anything like that. We want browse traffic and suggested traffic, but thumbsup.tv is gonna help you out. And then in the idea, Asian phase, I mean, I watch a number of other YouTube channels to get inspiration from them that are not in the Pokemon space. To give you an example, there was a engineer named Lewis Winks who created a video called "Can You Cook a Chicken by Slapping It?" I mean, that's a perfect I mean, you have to watch that video, right? At the beginning of this video, he shows that there's so much conversation about the science behind whether you slap a chicken fast enough, the friction will create enough heat to actually cook a chicken. Super silly, but I can't not watch this to understand what is going to happen because I didn't know I needed to know the answer to this until now. And he did it. I mean, he didn't cook it all the way. It was like 135 degrees. What is it, 165 is the cooking temperature?
That's about right.
Yeah. So anyway, he got into, and then the thing broke, and then just like chicken soup splattering everywhere. It's hilarious. But I was like, okay, is there anything in Pokemon that would be the equivalent of this idea of can you cook a chicken by slapping it? And I was like, there actually is. A lot of people have been complaining for years that the slabs that you have with your cards, when you shake them, they make noise. Oh my gosh, the cards are hitting the edges. Does that damage the cards? Nobody ever answered that question. So I said, you know what? That's going to be my chicken slapping video. And I followed the same process that he did in that video. He started with the question, right? Just like in Mythbusters. And then he did a time-lapse build of him building the machine, or I built the Lego machine to shake a slab really fast. And I went through I didn't have to invent anything other than the Pokemon version of that. And then at the end, I was like, okay, first of all, cards were safe under normal human shaking sort of standards. But when you put it up to a jackhammer just to see what happens, yeah, it pretty much demolishes the card on the inside. But nobody would ever do that, right? So anyway, I hope that answers your question. Getting other ideas from others, and then when we're in a room together, just jamming, that's when the best ideas come. What if this? Oh, you should do that. It's hard to get good ideas from just your own brain. Find other brains that are there with you. You help them, they help you. Yeah?
And think in titles. If you think in your ideas in titles,
Yes, so we're thinking ideas and titles. All right, let's go over here, and then we'll do maybe two more after.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the creative piece you've been talking about, I love it. My questions are more technical. So one, why YouTube and not other platforms like Facebook or Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok? And then my second question is, and this is the hardest part for me, what editor, video editor, do you use? What program, software?
The technical stuff is very much a hurdle for a lot of people. You're not alone, and I wasn't either. I was in that camp too. On that note, I mean, maybe you want to speak to the editing real quick?
Sure. Yeah, with editing, I mean, for us, we use Adobe Premiere. Do you use Premiere?
Same.
And do you have an editor, or you edit?
I work with an editor.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so we work with an editing team. My editing team over here, we got Zach, Chris, Ian somewhere in here, Jay. Like, those are the ones who see because they're like the superstars.
They weren't always there, though. We didn't start with that, right?
And we always have Zach.
Yes, and you know, for a long time on YouTube, I was editing videos myself. So I was using ScreenFlow,
Yeah.
which was a screen recorder for recording your screen because I wouldn't know how to use Premiere or Final Cut Pro. I was just like, what is if this were easy, what would it look like? That's the question that you should all ask yourself, no matter what it is you're doing. A great filter is, if this were easy, what would it look like? I got that from Tim Ferriss. And in the editing world, I was like, okay, what is the simplest platform to remove mistakes in my videos and add images when I want them? That was it. I don't need the slow-mo stuff or the fancy whatever. Just I want to do that so I can start. Yeah. And then over time, you're like, oh, now I know how to do this. Now I know how to do this. So find a simple program you can use. I think DaVinci is one.
Even the free ones that come with the programs, right? There's Windows Movie Maker, iMovie, right? Those things come free. DaVinci is also free, but might be a little more complicated. You don't need a complicated software to get it going, depending on what your content is, right? And sometimes you just go live and you could record something live and then cut it up from there. Whatever it is that you're deciding your content to be, that you don't want to overcomplicate it.
And you know what? Sometimes the story trumps the editing.
Yeah.
All the time. And there's even this trend now on YouTube. You've even seen Mr. Beast do this. He's telling more depth in his stories. There's still explosions because that's his thing, but and a lot of money. But he's trying to slow down a little bit. And so if you get that emotional connecting story, you don't need any editing at all. Right. So maybe trying to find the happy balance between the two. And on your question on platform, yes, we could take these things and put them elsewhere, but every time I say yes to a new thing, I'm saying no to something else. And so I'd rather put more time and focus into just the world of YouTube and who's there and building that community there. Again, nothing wrong with going onto those other spaces unless it's keeping you from telling that story better. Right. How about you? Are you posting on multiple platforms, Henry?
Yeah, I'm not really omni-channel yet, multiple channels, just really Instagram. But when I think about some of the long-form content that I create, after I create them, I do find opportunities to create shorter clips and then post those to either Instagram or YouTube Shorts. But I'm not on TikTok or anywhere else yet for the time being.
The probably best advice I could give you is every platform has their own way that things work on that platform. See what's working on TikTok, and then take maybe what you filmed for YouTube and TikTokify it, I guess you could say. Go with the trends that are happening on that space.
My question primarily was how did you why would you choose YouTube?
Why would I choose YouTube over others?
Right, and I can see that there's a big market for Pokemon on YouTube and the population that's on YouTube. That makes sense. But I was just curious if there was data behind it, why you started on YouTube, or if it was just something that brought you joy and that's why you landed there versus some of these other platforms.
Yeah, that's a good question. Again, YouTube, that's where I watch videos, so I know how that works. But more than that, YouTube has the largest reach for return. TikTok has a huge reach, but the return on that reach, when you get those views, is very little. Longer form videos are more well suited for YouTube, and the YouTube algorithm, the ability to get clear data on how well your videos are doing so you can do better is unlike anything else on YouTube. So that's that for us. Yeah, thank you. We'll take one more question. Gentleman in the front center here, right behind the... There we go. And name please, then we'll answer this question really quick.
Steven?
Steven. What's up, Steven?
Cool. So we've been running the channel for about 1.5 years now, and our first year we got about 400 subscribers. And in the past 3 months, we've gotten about 600 subscribers.
Amazing.
And the way that we did that transition was we started focusing on shorts because we found that the algorithm favored us in shorts more. So I guess my question is, because ultimately I'm a big fan of your content, I like your style, it's kind of the stuff that I like to make. But we weren't really getting a lot of success in that. So do you think that going for shorts first to get a following, to get subscribers, likes, and views, is that a good way to transition into longer form content, or do you think that they are not, the same?
I understand. You can follow up with this. To me, shorts is a completely different audience than longs. Yeah. They don't transfer as much as YouTube's trying to, and I know some people at YouTube, and they're trying to what they call bridge the gap between short form, and they even have click a little link in your short form that is a segment of your long form video. It's not working. It's just a different kind of behavioral pattern for viewers, right, Dan?
Yeah, it all comes down to behavior, right? How you watch, when you watch, who's watching. Right now, in the Pokemon card space, people watch both shorts and longs, right?
Yeah.
But again, different viewer activity activity, different viewer behavior, different viewer loyalty, right? Viewers will come back to watch a long form. But it also really depends what your goal is. If your goal is subscribers and views, then go all in on shorts. If your goal is to make stories and make money, then go with longs. Because that's where that'll come for ad revenue. You won't make anywhere near as much on shorts if your goal is revenue. And that's okay. Like a goal being revenue is okay, because that's what helps pay for the product, right?
Yes.
That helps pay for the team. That's what helps pay for you. If that's the goal. But if your goal is, hey, I just want to make a YouTube channel that's the biggest, gets all these views and gets these subscribers, I don't really care about the money, and that's some people's goal as well. Sometimes it's just a hobby. Then you could double down on that and really create those kind of strategies.
And there's the other kind of money that comes with more subscribers, like brand deals and things like that. When you get more subs, that is attractive. And so shorts is a much easier way to do that than longs. However, to finish up, because I gotta go to my meet and greet, I think of shorts as like Halloween candy, right? They're coming to your house, they get a candy, and then they move on. They don't really remember you. They move on, and unless you have the giant king-size Snickers, they're not gonna talk about you. Versus I want to create a restaurant that people sit down at and have a 5-course meal and have an experience and then invite their friends back to. And that's what a long is. And both have their own place in the world of YouTube. And yes, there is a balance that you could have between both. But it just takes reps to see it. So anyway, thank you all so much for today. Thank you to Profit. Thank you to Dan. We have a Q&A tomorrow. We are at the same time, I believe, or around maybe in the morning. Yeah, it's earlier. And we're going to answer questions about Deep Pocket Monsters tomorrow, but I'm going to be going over to the meet and greet now. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy the show. We'll see you tonight at 5:30.